Hello world again. This is Dr. Dan coming to you from the Hudson Valley, New York. So thinking more about how I might be helpful in the wake of what we're dealing with globally with the COVID-19 virus and resulting health issues, health problems that develop in the body, but also in the mind. And one of the things I'd like to talk with you about today is breath control. If you've taken a yoga class before or even experience with relaxation exercises, you might already be familiar with the power of the breath. If we think about it, breathing is really essential and creates the parameters of life itself. The first thing that we do when we're born is inhale. And the last thing that we do before we leave the earthly plane is release the breath. And all of those in between, we're inhaling and exhaling if we're alive. So from the yoga tradition, they have a practice called pranayama, which is just the Sanskrit term loosely translated into breath control. And the reason that we may practice pranayama is to regulate our nervous system, specifically the autonomic nervous system, which is connected to so many of our organs in our body. And one quite directly related to breath control, as you can imagine, is our lungs. Now, I'm not making any claims today at all that somehow practicing pranayama is going to guard against COVID virus or even help necessarily once you get it. But if we know that pranayama is associated with healthy lung functioning, and we do, logic would tell us that at the very least, if we're improving our lung functioning, or at least calming our nervous system, that it certainly wouldn't hurt in the process of what we're going through now. I think at the very least, it will provide some way for us to have a sense of control and to foster some relaxation in our nervous system. So today I'd like to just show you a basic, simple pranayama practice, which is 3-part breath. And this really involves just becoming aware of the different levels of our body where breath can move. And just the simple act of bringing our attention to those different areas of the body and breath can be quite profound. So let's begin. Just a gentle warning to let you know that sometimes doing breath control exercises can make you feel lightheaded. This is perfectly normal as long as it's not too uncomfortable. If you're practicing in a relaxed position, you could do this on the floor, you could do this on your couch, in your bed. I prefer just sitting up straight in a straight back chair like the one I have here. Another important thing to say is obviously do not practice breath control exercises while you're driving a car or you're operating machinery or anything like that. So first, just become aware for a moment that you're breathing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good. You might already have chosen to keep your eyes closed. Closed or open is fine. And now I'd like you to take a deep inhalation and feel the breath move through the body. Let's take that inhalation through the nose. Begin. Inhale and exhale. Now I'd like you to consider and even maybe visualize that the breath comes through the body in generally 3 areas. The belly, beginning here, then the heart center and chest, then up into the nasal cavity and into the head. So as we inhale this time, I'd like you to consider that and just visualize the breath coming through those 3 areas. Ready? Let's begin. and exhale. Again, 3 parts. And exhale. You'll also notice that there's a little pause at the top of your inhale before you begin to exhale. You can just hold that pause for a moment or two. Don't strain, but there's utility in actually holding on to the breath a bit. So this time we'll inhale and we'll hold it for a moment or two and exhale, keeping in mind that visualization of the 3 parts. Begin. Again. Again. Very good. You may notice that as you inhale, there may be a tendency to lift the shoulders up on your inhale. You might have noticed that I tend to just release the shoulders while I hold the inhale. We want to keep the body as relaxed as we can. So let's continue that practice for a few rounds now. Good. Take a pause on that practice now and just notice how you feel. What's happening in the body? What's happening in the mind? 3-part breath. And before we end the practice today, just adding one feature. You can place one hand on your heart center and one on the navel. And as you do this, you may find it better to follow the breath up into the nasal cavity. So let's just do a couple of rounds like that to practice. Let's begin on an inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Open your eyes and just return to normal breathing. Again, just checking in how that feels for you. And you can practice this for about 10 or 15 rounds, 2 or 3 times per week at first to see how you feel. And if you like, you can increase it to once a day. That's it for today, folks. I hope to come back and introduce some more practices that might be helpful for us as a global community. So I wish you well, stay well, and I'll see you again.